Yep.
Oh, I've been looking for a prince all my life. Well, you're in luck. I am the prince of all Saiyans. Oh my god, look at your strong muscles. Oh, you like what you see here? I'm a Super Saiyan 2 Majin Vegeta. Oh, hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to another episode of We Nerdin Out. Another week, another thing to talk about. Hey, how's it going? Been a while. Thanks for watching our last video. Thanks for the subscribers and everything. We love you guys. Yeah, let's just yeah, we'll just hey, Spenny, me and my boy Spenny here back again for another week of content for you guys. We love you, appreciate you, and we got a couple things to chat about today. And just don't mind what you saw a couple minutes there ago. And yeah, hey Spenny, what you got on deck here today? What do we got
Well,
on the go?
we got a few things on the go, and I hope she finds her prince.
Oh, yeah.
Happy
Yeah,
endings
she's-
and such. So for
let's
first thing,
let's put my toys back.
we'll just put the toys away. First thing on the list, man, we got a couple things that are announced. A couple cool things that were announced.
Cool things.
Cool things, like the cool whip. All right.
Cool.
Game of Thrones. You know, everyone, that little show that no one's heard of, and 5 people have
Absolutely
watched,
nobody.
and it's like a 0 on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm pretty sure. Like, is there a rotten? Is it rated rotten? I think that's a thing.
I don't even know if they know if it's a tomato at this point.
Yeah,
They're
like
kinda
it's just a
what
seed.
the fuck.
That show that did nothing. It's just a seed of a show. So
What the
they
fuck is
decided
that?
to double down, I guess, and make a prequel. You know,
Why make money when you can make even more money?
when they're like,
Right?
hey, remember how that show that no one's ever heard of might have been good up until the last season? They're like, let's go back to the beginning and we'll just take away all those mistakes and we'll try to do it all over again.
Yeah.
So they're doing that, and they finally announced when the debut for this new prequel show will be. And the show is called House of Dragons, for any of you weirdos that somehow hasn't heard of this. And it premieres on August 21st. And
August 21st.
It says HBO, so I don't think it's going to be tandem with HBO Max, but I could be mistaken. I don't think that's been clarified yet. So, like, I don't know if it'll be like the same day release, but
I guess we'll see when the time comes.
we're going to learn more about the fucking Tigerians starting April 21st. That's all there is to say about it. It's just it's been announced. You've been told.
This is news. If you didn't know, you know now.
Yeah.
There's a prequel to something.
Somewhere in a 1950 street corner, there's a boy yelling, "Get your news here!" And that's it. The headline reads,
Winter may be coming.
Winter coming, April 21st.
You know what's funny? It says winter's coming again, but if it's a prequel, that would mean that the actual show would be the coming again, and this would be the coming.
We're witnessing the coming.
You know what? We're witnessing the winter is coming.
Yeah, the coming of
the
winter.
show was the coming again.
Yes, the coming of the white stuff. Yes, it's coming again on August 21st, I believe. I think I said April 21st, but that is horribly off. Just so you're all aware, if I did say that, take that away. It's August 21st. It'll be closer to actual winter in Canada.
The show is not coming out in like 2 weeks.
No.
Don't sit there holding your breath because you're gonna be disappointed.
Yeah,
really disappointed.
If you just got hard nipples, just put some ice on those puppies because we're nowhere near it.
I didn't book time off work to watch this shit.
Yeah, no, we're not quite there yet. Thank God we caught that.
We're reliable.
One of these days, I'm just gonna have like a fucking montage reel of all the things that we've either missaid or just like completely misunderstood when we tried to announce it, and be like, see all the news that we've provided you.
April Fools on April 3rd. Gotcha.
Yeah, we were just tricking you. It was all for the memes.
All for the memes.
Alrighty, man.
So yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, you said are you a big Game of Thrones guy? Not really.
Yes. It's probably an amazing show, and I like everything about it. I am one of the probably very many few that have actually seen from it yet, but I like what it's about. I'm sure it's great. I have nothing bad to say about it because I know nothing to say about it. But I mean, like, yeah,
There's a prequel. Maybe I'll just watch the prequel. Maybe I'm ahead of the game. I'm gonna watch the first stuff before I get into the actual show itself. So maybe I'm gonna know a little more
You
when I
know
go
what?
into the actual TV
You know what,
series.
man? That's probably a really good way to go about it. And
I knew this was gonna happen. That's why I didn't watch the actual show when everybody else is all hype about it. They're like, "Yo, you gotta watch this." I'm like, "Dude, there's gonna be a prequel. I am gonna wait. I am patient.
this is why we're
This is just
partners.
pure. This
He's
is
a
just
genius.
pure wisdom, just leaking out
Yes.
of my ears. You know, there's just so
Yeah.
much up here. It just comes out of everywhere.
Yes.
Winter's coming. My
Yeah.
wisdom's coming. Everything is. Let's just move on.
Every- Everything is coming. Yeah.
Everything is coming.
Yep. That's how childish we are.
Yeah, just
I have watched Game of Thrones. I've watched it all. Kyle, I recommend you watch the prequel series first because I have never seen it. And then if you do want to watch the real series, watch everything up to season 8 and then just stop and pretend like season 8 didn't
holy
happen.
shit. There's that many seasons.
There's that many seasons. Just pretend
Oh.
like the last one doesn't exist. Just watch the first 7 and enjoy.
Well, at least they only botched one instead of like
Hey,
1, 2 is great. 3,
Dude.
skip that shit. It's garbage. 4 is good. 5 is watch half of it, skip the rest of it.
yes. No.
So for them to have 7 solid seasons and 1 to skip, I feel like that's acceptable.
Hey man,
You
even
can't always
with,
win.
Even with the rough season 8, it is still a very good watch. And you know me, I'm a fucking piece of shit when it comes to criticizing things. So if I can stand
If you guys haven't
behind
seen last episode behind Halo, like you know if you've seen it. If you know, you know.
you know. But yes, I
You
can
know,
be
you
very
know, you know.
hard on things. So I think it speaks volumes that I still appreciate the show in all its glory. So take that for what it is. On to the next thing.
On to the next.
So there's this little show on Netflix called Ozark. It's got a guy in it, named Jason Bateman. He's a very funny man. In this show, not so funny. It is a very good show. And season 4, part 1 has just come out. I binge watched the whole thing in like a day and a half because I'm an animal and I needed it. And now they finally announced that we're going to get season 4, part 2. And it is soon. It is on April 29th. This is actually April. I can read this time.
Actually April,
and the
not
date
August.
is actually April. And that is soon.
That's real soon.
That is real
If you haven't
soon.
booked time off work, you might want to do it.
I don't know if that'll be necessary. I think it's only like 4 episodes, 5 episodes or something. Because they like split
As
the
a guy
season
that
in half.
is in huge favor of booking time off, I always book time off for any occasion possible, whether that be, I don't know, a certain type of drink came out at the gas station. I need an entire day off, like just anything. I'm always looking for a reason.
just imagine you walking into the gas station before work and you're like calling the boss. You're like, boss, new Monster's out, bro. Not coming in today. He's like, what? You're like, new Monster, bro.
There's a new drink out. I'm not gonna make it.
This is like Rehab Flavors 13. I can't make it, dude. This is a whole day. I've
Can't
lost
make
my
it.
whole day in here.
I like mentally, I just cannot focus on work today. I am all in on the drink. I just don't know what to say anymore.
God
Sorry, I'm not
forbid
gonna make it in.
there's 2 monsters that release on one
Oh,
day.
please,
You need
God,
a
no.
week off.
I'm gonna have to dip into the vacation pay. Fuck,
Yeah.
please no.
You're like, you just don't understand my struggle, okay?
You
Don't
guys
understand.
just don't even know.
Have you
So,
watched Ozark?
Nope. Not
Hey,
this
man.
guy.
Hey man, no, nothing wrong with that. It's on Netflix. Just when you're
You
bored.
guys can always count on me to be the one guy that's never done jack shit, seen shit, done shit.
Hey man,
I mean, I've done a lot of stuff, seen a lot of stuff, but not a lot of like, stuff. Just out on some stuff. I just save it all for a bingey day.
that was very descriptive, and we are all completely confused. I assure you. But
Yeah.
he is the guy
Welcome.
who is very optimistic about the things he does watch, and there's nothing wrong with that. I will defend you
not.
on that front.
Oh, thanks, dude.
But
Oh, thanks.
part 2, April 29th. Ozark's very good. If you haven't watched it, check it out. It's on Netflix.
April 29th, not
April 29th.
August.
Yeah, not August. We've learned. I
Not
can
this
read.
time.
They both had A's. That's where I got tripped, but we're good. I'm learning as we're going.
Goddamn months and their A's. Jesus.
Something else with an A, and it got announced. The Attack on Titan final season part 3 is going to
here's
be
some
coming
shit.
out 2023. Now, part 2 took a while to come out after part 1. Part 1 is very good. I have not watched part 2 yet. I will watch part 2. But this
I'm in
seems
the
like a
same boat.
very handsome delay between parts, and I honestly didn't know they were doing a part 3. Like, I thought season 4 was it, and it was 2 parts, and that's it. So I'm not exactly too sure what else needs to be told in part 3. But this is surprising. Were you
I love
aware
how
that
this
this was
is.
going to be a part 3 thing?
I love how this is the longest final of finals for this goddamn show. They're always saying like, "Oh, this is actually the end. We're not going to be making anymore." And then it's like, "Oh, here's the final season. Oh, by the way, it's in like a shit ton apart." Which, don't get me wrong, I love this show and I can't get enough of it. So like, if just don't call it the final season anymore if you're going to keep pumping out stuff. Cause I don't know, I'm just getting like false hope that it's gonna keep going on and on. We're gonna get a bunch of more arcs, but I mean, I don't know how much longer they can drag out the story and stuff like that. So I did not know about a part 3. Absolutely not. I thought part 2 was gonna be it. That's all. 'Cause we kind of got the plan from the main character there, Aaron Yeager, and like just all that Titan stuff. And oh, it's such a good show. If you guys haven't watched it, just give it a watch. I am also in the same boat as you. I have not got to part 2 yet. I got a couple episodes in, but have not finished it. So I also need to catch up on that. But if there's going to be, I think I seen that this one's supposed to come out in 2023
Yeah.
for yeah, for the part 3.
Part 3 is
2023 for the
2023.
part 3.
Yeah. 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 A lot of 3s, a lot of A's. We're
A lot of
following it though.
God, what is this trend setting of confusion here?
I think this is
A's and
kind of one of
threes.
those crazy things. When I heard that it was going to be one more season, they were done. I read a lot of things online saying it was going to be very hard for them to tie up the final arc of this show, due to what was released in the manga. So like there was a pretty big like outcry of like, hey, this is probably going to be bad because they're going to have to wrap it up in very few episodes. So I was relieved when it was part 2, because I was like, okay, then they're going to allow themselves, the 12 episodes they need to tell a story or whatever, or 2 full seasons. Like, it's kind of what it's turning into. It feels like we're getting fucking 3 seasons for 1 season. So I kind of agree with you. They could have just been like, hey, we're just going to fucking play it by ear and we'll keep releasing them. Like, this final season part thing kind of feels like I'm watching fucking Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, except I never know when it's going to end. And that's not my favorite thing. But more Attack on Titan is not a problem. I just wish they were a little bit
No.
clearer on like what was actually going on.
More Attack on Titan, not a problem.
Not a problem.
Information, I don't mind having.
Yes. Yes.
I feel like that sums up the
Yes.
what's going on here.
Yes. It's coming
Love the show.
2023. It's a very good show. We know nothing more. Nobody else does.
I just know it's great, and if you haven't watched it, I highly suggest giving it a go.
Yes.
You like, oh, this is like the one show that like anybody that like hated anime, like my wife, for example, she did not really like anime at all. And then we watched Attack on Titan together, and that's where it really like kind of blew up her perspective on anime. So like that I feel like is a good kind of like example of how good this show is for anybody that's really like on the fence about anime in general. Like I feel like this is a really good one to just dive right into. Story's really good, characters are good, really drawn in. You're gonna love it. I highly suggest it. And I'm glad they're still making more. Just more information on what's going on.
Yes.
Like the final season's
Yes.
getting really confusing because it's like, when's this gonna end? It doesn't seem like it is ending, and then you're just kind of like shitting on my heart and stuff because it's just so good and I don't want it to.
Yeah, I didn't want it to end either, and that's why I've been putting off the second part of season 4, I think. The final season. Whatever the final season is, I've been putting it off
Whatever
because
the
I'm like, I
season.
don't want it to end. So now that there's another part, I'm like, oh, thank God I can watch it and I won't cry later. So, I mean, it is nice that we are getting more. And I can,
Yeah.
we can be saved for a little bit longer. But I share the same sentiment as Kyle. It's a very good show. It's a very good first anime for people that are like, anime's stupid. You can watch that show and it wins a lot of people over. And if that doesn't win you over,
100%.
watch Mugen Train. And then if that doesn't win you over, you're just heartless and there's nothing more to say to you. So another thing that got announced this week, Kyle, is this little prequel series that I didn't know existed for It. They're doing a prequel to It, the movie, which was also a miniseries, which was also a movie, and it was also a book. And then it was also a thought in a man's mind before he wrote that book, and then it became a movie, then it became a miniseries, then it became a movie again, and now it's becoming a fucking prequel miniseries. Possibly? I don't know if it's a miniseries, it's just a series. But it's going to HBO Max, and it will be called Welcome to Derry. Are you excited for this?
I can't get enough it. This show is amazing, two-parter. Cast is great. Is it like just yeah. This was like probably one of the first horror movies I ever watched as a kid to actually like scare the shit out of me. I could not stare at a bathroom drain the same ever again for the
Dude,
longest time.
that scene haunts every kid who watched that movie who had no right watching that movie. That is like a movie
No.
that scares grown adults, and I don't know
Yep.
how old you were when you watched it, but I was young enough where
Yeah,
I was like, okay, I'm just never going to the bathroom again. Pee outside for the rest of my life because that's
Yep.
where fucking he is.
Taking a shower, that's not happening. Hell no.
Yeah.
Fuck that. It's gonna come out. He's gonna eat me because I am a child, and that's what he is all about. And I am scared as shit, so he's gonna be powerful as fuck, feeding off my fear.
It's a fucking insanely scary movie. Even
Oh
for
my
its time, like
god.
if you go back and watch like the original, it's pretty rough looking now. But I mean, fuck me. For its day though, it was like some nerve wracking shit. And then this new rendition of it is very good. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's quite as scary, probably just because, as a man, I've matured and I'm not afraid of shit no more. But it's still very, it's still very haunting. It's very good. I liked it a lot.
Did they ever release the first part onto Netflix or anything yet, or have they still not done that? 'Cause I'm
Well,
pretty sure we have part two, but for some reason we don't have part one, and I don't understand the logic behind that. Don't
my
get it.
guess is it's because it's saying this is in development at HBO Max, so maybe Warner Brother owns the rights to it.
Ah,
So you could probably find it Chapter 1 on HBO Max now, and then it'll be the second part when the license runs out with Netflix. I'm assuming that's what it would be. I don't really know.
yeah.
Just talking
Because
out
I've
of
been
my
wanting to
ass.
watch one again, and I just can't find it anywhere. But
You know what
two
you
is
gotta
easy to
do?
find.
You just
Just buy
fucking
the fucking
buy
thing.
it. Yeah, you gotta buy it. That movie's worth buying. That's a
Oh,
treat.
it's good. Buy it on digital because I don't own a DVD player or any kind of player at all anymore. I'm all about that digital life now.
Yeah, dude. Who isn't?
Revolving.
I have
Who?
fucking Blu-ray discs. I have a stack of Blu-ray discs that I haven't opened in God knows how long. Because I'm like, who the fuck puts things in their thing anymore when you could just click the remote and fucking click
Yeah.
a tile?
I literally
Just yell at
I
Siri.
did like a little cleaning thing where I got rid of like all my Blu-rays, DVDs, yada yada, except I kept all my Dragon Ball Z's for sure. Your boy ain't getting rid of shit like that.
That makes sense,
But yeah, digital days, they're a beautiful thing. That's where I'm at. But yeah, the prequel is gonna be. I got high hopes for it. That'll be really cool.
dude.
I don't really know what they're gonna touch on unless we're going like further into the past where it was also a problem back then as well.
That's
Get
what
a
the show looks like it's gonna go. Like it sounds like it's gonna span a couple decades of like because he reemerges like every I don't know fucking 20 years or whatever some fucking like number I can't remember, but he like
yeah.
appears in history like in a cycle. So I'm assuming if it's a success, they'll probably cover multiple cycles. But that's the
Yeah,
way it makes it sound. So it'll be all in the past.
yeah, he's something like a 14-year cycle. It emerges, eats, goes back to sleep or whatever. And then there's no word as to whether Bill Skarsgård will be returning as the role of Pennywise. I hope to God he does, because his facial expressions and everything he did to bring that character to life was killer. He killed it so good. So I hope he comes back.
I'm
'Cause he,
sure they'll
oh
bring
man,
him back, dude. He makes the character, and
yeah,
he does a bunch of TV, still. So I think it's very
yeah.
likely we'll see him in this,
That Skarsgård family just kills it. Every single one of them. If you're not familiar with any of the
dude.
Skarsgårds, like fuck, oh, because there's there's two brothers plus the dad. The dad plays in the original Thor. He's the one of the scientists there. I don't know if I can't
Dude,
remember his name. There's another Skarsgård.
There's three brothers and one dad, and they all are fucking insane. There's the dude from
What's
True Blood, whose name I cannot remember because I'm dog shit with names.
The other one's from
He's the
Vikings.
most, yeah. So there's Floki from Vikings. There's Bill
Floki, yep.
Skarsgård, which I remember his name. He's it. And then there's the
Yep.
other Skarsgård brother, who's like the most famous of them. I want to say it's Alexander, but
No,
their
you
dad
might
is
be right
also
with
incredible.
Alexander.
Yeah, he's in a
Yeah, like
new
every single one of
Viking
them.
movie that's coming out soon. But he is also in True Blood. He's in a bunch of shit. That guy is fucking.
Alexander Skarsgård, you are correct.
Yeah, that guy is a handsome motherfucker, and they put him in everything because he's a handsome motherfucker.
Man, just every single one of these Skarsgård
Oh
dudes
my
are just
God.
killing it.
Dude,
Is this where we just gush on Swedish boys?
Oh my God, I don't even care. Look, we already talked about it was coming, and we're in the right avenue to talk about that some more. Okay,
Dude,
their
the dad's got
dad,
a sick
dude,
name, Stellan Skarsgård.
that guy. There's a show originally aired on BBC, and I think it's on Netflix now. It's called River. He plays a cop who's like struggling with the loss of his partner. Holy fuck, is it a good show? He is incredible in it. So if you've never seen it and you like that guy, or just like any of the Skarsgårds, you should check that show out. It's very good. But yes, their whole family is ridiculously talented and also very good looking. So they're just
Bill, Stellan, Alexander, and Gustav.
Yeah. Gustav is the dude who
Skarsgård.
plays Floki, right?
Floki, correct. Yeah.
Dude, this is what a fucking cool character, bro.
Oh my God, he kills it. And if you guys haven't seen Vikings, like, damn, Floki is my favorite character by far.
Yes.
So good.
I'm sure that's the sentiment shared by almost everyone who watches that show. Everyone loves Floki, and then second is Ragnar, and then once
yeah, that cynical little chuckle he has, and or whatever the fuck he does, like, so good.
Yeah, he's a very good character.
Yeah, let's everybody fingers crossed that Bill Skarsgård comes back as it again, because he's gonna kill it. He is it at this point. He did so good.
Yeah, they need him for this, in my opinion. Unless no, I was gonna say like unless they change the style, but no, they just fucking need him.
No.
Just
bring him back.
Don't make a mistake like other shows that we are aware of have made. You want to really make sure the casting is. So keep him around. That would be wise. That would be my recommendation.
Please don't fuck it up.
Please don't fuck it up. But yes, that's very exciting. There's not really much news other than the fact that it's in development. So keep your guys' eyes and ears peeled. And if you stay tuned into us, I'm sure the fuck we'll talk about it because that's exciting.
Oh, we will
have more news about it soon. That would be cool. On to the gaming news, Kyle.
Gaming.
There's this little company that no one really knows about. It's called Sony, and they have like this PlayStation.
I don't even know if I've heard of them.
I know, right? Like, who the fuck owns a PlayStation? Like
PlayStation. Who the fuck is PlayStation? Oh, they're a little company worth billions. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
It's whatever.
Yeah. Well, they announced their competitor to Game Pass. I wouldn't say it's a straight competitor yet, but it's a compelling offer that they've announced.
Okay.
So they are essentially changing their PlayStation Plus subscription to have 3 tiers. And the top tier, the middle 2 tiers have both PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now perks. And then the top tier has more games. So your bottom tier is like you can play PlayStation Online. Your second tier is like you have PlayStation Online and their version of Game Pass. And then the top tier is like you get everything that was included in the first 2 tiers. And then you also get access to their streaming game library. So you get more games. Apparently, there is going to be, a decent selection of first-party titles at launch of this Game Pass thing. They have not released which titles they will be. They've also specified that no first-party titles will come at launch with this pseudo Game Pass. So that's where Xbox still beats the shit out of this because, a new game these days is like $90 and you pay, I don't know, maybe like $200 a year for Game Pass Ultimate if you bundle it. So, if they release 2 games at launch on Game Pass, you've paid for those 2 games and you get everything else, which is a ridiculous amount of stuff. So PlayStation is not taking that approach by the sounds of it. It's just very much going to be, your monthly fee, you get your, discounts and, free games like you would with PlayStation Plus, and then you also get access to a library of games unseen right now. They have not specified exactly when it'll launch. I don't believe. I want to say the rumor is the end of first half of 2022. So I want to say it's July is what I've heard. But I mean, who knows? The pricing is also a little bit startling for me. So the way the middle one would be, which is arguably similar to Game Pass,
The
it's
plus extra.
$15 a month American. So that's like, I don't know, $19 Canadian, give or take.
Yeah,
So it's
something like that. Yeah.
slightly more than Game Pass. And then the premium tier is $18 American. So you're looking at like $25 Canadian. And I'll have to see what games are offered when the service launches. But it is a little bit startling that the price is so high, in my opinion, especially when Game Pass is just such a good fucking deal, and they have first party titles that launch exclusively on Game Pass, or like right into Game Pass. I shouldn't say exclusively on Game Pass, but they will launch day one on Game Pass. There's a lot of like brand new games we get for essentially free because you're going to pay for Xbox Live anyway. But yes, that's the gist of it. What are your thoughts on this, Kyle? I know you're not a giant PlayStation guy, but what do you think about this?
No, I got my niche with the Xbox and that community of sorts, only because most of my friends are on Xbox. That's the only reason. I have nothing against PlayStation. Yeah, with these prices are pretty up there when we go into converting over to the Canadian dollar from the US dollar. So the top tier one being at, there's pretty much like a $5 difference between these prices for going from an American to a Canadian. So the price is getting pretty steep. And then I don't necessarily like that it comes in 3 tiers. I understand that they're trying to make maybe like more affordable for some people, but I don't know. I feel like they can do better with this kind of plan. Like I don't understand why they have to go about it in a 3-tiered way. I mean, I don't know. Like I feel like your community must be worth more than this. Like you're kind of giving them like you're giving them like a taste of what they want without really giving them what they want. Like I don't know if that makes sense, but that's the kind of vibe I'm getting from this. It's not quite. Yeah, Game Pass I feel is just a much better offer than the PlayStation one is. I don't like this 3-tiered monthly subscription, yearly subscription. They give you monthly, quarterly, yearly. So the cheapest one being the PlayStation Plus Essential, which is $9.99 a month, $24.99 quarterly, $59.99 a year. Not too bad. PlayStation Plus coming in at $14.99 a month, $39.99 quarterly, $100 a year. And your big boy here at $17.99 and then $120 a year, which I mean, that's not like a lot of money, but in comparison to what's offered already with Game Pass, like these prices are pretty. They're more.
It's also
I don't think it's
American.
anything. Yeah, so for us, it's even more than it is already. So
Yeah.
but it's just where we live and what we got to deal with. That yeah, that's my thoughts. Ultimately, to wrap that kind of what I think about it. They could do better. I think for the people they got. So you're giving them a taste of what they could have without actually giving them what they would want. So you could do better.
I mean, I kind of agree with what you're saying. Like the PlayStation Plus or like the PlayStation community as a whole, like does deserve better. I think in this day and age, you really need to have like a direct competitor to Game Pass, and Game Pass only has the 2 tiers. Like, you know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
Xbox Live is like something separate. But like if you bundle them together with Game Pass Ultimate, it's a very good deal, very compelling. Where this is kind of doing the same thing, and then their PlayStation Now subscription service, which is already a thing, they're just bundling into the top tier of this. So it's kind of like they're just like changing the titles of what exists, but you're paying about the same you would to just have everything anyway. So I don't really see this as much of a win. I think a lot of it's going to fall on the shoulders of like what games are included in this. Like what games are going to be included in the library they're going to give us. If it's like, some big titles, some big PlayStation exclusives, like maybe we'll get Sifu, or maybe we'll get like the new Horizon, or something more relevant that's also, or Ratchet and Clank, something like that. I think that's a compelling offer because they do make great first party games, and they're going to need to put up to compete with Game Pass. Like they're going to need to put up something compelling. Right now, I haven't seen it. It's saying it launches in June, and it says 700 games or more. So we'll see. We'll see what's included in those games. But for right now, it's cool that they're at least trying. But I agree. I think I expected a little bit more competition out of this, and especially with the news we're about to talk about next. That being that right off the fucking cuff of this announcement from PlayStation, there's heavy rumors of Microsoft announcing a family plan for Game Pass, which is ridiculous.
Family pan.
Yes, the whole pan. They're the family size pan. They're gonna beat everyone with it, and up to 5 people you can beat with your pan, dude. That is a lot of fucking pans to the grill.
There's a whole lot of pan action going on here.
Yeah, dude. And we're not talking about that PUBG pan either. We're talking about the real deal pans. But yeah, so it's been announced. I think it's officially been announced. It was rumored initially, and then I think they full on were like, yeah, this is happening. They're going to move forward with it. And they're speculating right now by the information provided that you will have 5 people active on your family plan at a time, which is pretty fucking awesome.
That's a large chunk.
Yeah, I don't know how that translates exactly, like whether it's like, you share Game Pass Ultimate with 5 people or just access to the Game Pass library. I don't think they've really specified exactly how that works. If it's 5 people can share Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and you also get like the live service included, that is an insanely good deal on top of an already insanely good deal. So, I mean, if that is, even if it's just access to the game library, that's insane. That's great. Especially for the people that just like refuse to get Game Pass, you'd be able to share it with them or share it with your family, But that is, man, this is like the fucking Big Daddy Phil just was like, PlayStation, hold my fucking beer. I'll show you how to announce a fucking plan, okay? You want to see some shit? I'll fucking show you.
You think you got something? Wait, hold on. Here, hold my beer.
Yeah, dude.
I'm gonna throw something right at him.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's Xbox Game Pass for somebody like myself. I have kids, so for this to be 5 people, like I only got to pay for one thing, and everybody's got something. Like that's really good. So, like this is already better than what Sony's offering. This is what Sony deserves, but Xbox is getting. I feel like I don't understand what's so hard about giving people what they want. Like, I don't get it.
Dude,
I like this Game Pass family plan. This is really good.
I think it's just the fact that Microsoft is so far ahead in this race. You know what I mean? Like they came out so forward thinking with this Game Pass thing, and it's so like customer oriented and just like community driven. It's ridiculous. And I think to catch up, PlayStation had to go big. They did not. And then in rebuttal, Microsoft gave us this, which is ridiculous. Because there's like, obviously the fine details are not out yet, but I'm going to assume there is no limit on where you can share this family plan. So like, if you have a family member who doesn't have an Xbox, but they can use Game Pass on PC now, or they can use Game Pass on phone, because some of those games you can stream on mobile and stuff. Yeah. So I mean, like this opens up a whole world of possibilities and avenues to get people into the Xbox ecosystem that just either one can't afford it or just had no interest in it. But now that it's like just free essentially, if you were wanting to share that with somebody else, it's just a win-win for everyone, man. It's kind of insane.
It's just such a versatile program that they're offering here. So like it's just appealing to the consumer like us. Like everything they're offering is just really great stuff. Got nothing bad to say about this. It is nothing but it's literally exactly what I want. It's what I want. It makes sense. I will use it completely. And this is just perfect. Absolutely perfect. Bravo.
Yeah,
good one.
So
go to Microsoft. You're fucking swinging that thing around. You're killing it.
Big Daddy Phil don't do no wrong. He's hitting homers, man. This guy, I don't know, he's got a crystal ball or something. Dude's just fucking seeing the future, but I can't even imagine how this is going to shake things up even more than it already has. So very exciting news for people who have Game Pass or are in the Xbox ecosystem, and also exciting news for people that potentially aren't and can be introduced through this. And bad news for PlayStation players because fucking PlayStation just doesn't pony up and actually be competitive. So, but they don't have to because they have all the good exclusive games. But fucking dickheads.
They got
right?
games. That's a plus. They got hella games.
Dude, they got
PlayStation's got
insane first party games. Insane
oh
games. Some of the best games I've played in the last 10 years of my life, easily, are on
yep.
PlayStation only. And slowly bleeding into PC now. But for the vast majority on PlayStation only. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So
they got that going for them.
They got that going for them indeed.
Oops.
As you brought to my attention, Kyle, there's this
Yeah.
little game called Fortnite that all the kids play.
All the kids play.
Many of us have played it. We've dabbled. We've gone down the twisted towers of our youth. I don't know where I'm going with this tangent, but we gave up on that shit because some 8-year-old in a stroller rolled up, busted a fucking 360 edit out, destroyed your bitch ass with a shotgun, and you just got fucking PTSD for the rest of your life, so you stopped playing it like everyone else, myself included. Now, they've announced that there's officially a zero build mode. It's back. So you don't have to play against these sweaty little babies and their fucking ADD brains and editing abilities. What do you think of this, man?
Like, okay, so when Fortnite first came out, I really loved the gunplay. The gunplay is awesome. The mechanics, everything works so good. The thing that sucked was when I shoot little Billy in the back of the head and all of a sudden he's built into the sky and I don't know what the fuck's going on anymore. I'm trying to shoot out the building. He's building faster than I can shoot. And then he's around me, got a building around me, edit outs the wall, headshots me, the wall's back up all within like 1 second. It's like the game is more oriented. Like, I understand building is what Fortnite is, but with this no build mode, it's more appealing to me to come back now because now it feels more like it's a gun skill now, not so much a ability to be able to build and edit and kill a guy with a shotgun now, which is this is bringing me in. I'm sure I'm not the only one that's gonna start downloading Fortnite back again and start giving it another go with this whole zero build mode because this is something that I wanted for the longest time. I could not keep up with the people and their build abilities, their editing abilities. Editing and building was what made this game so unbearable for me because just couldn't keep up with these kids. These kids were amazing at what they did. I can't do that. I got no reflexes that fast to be able to build a wall, make a window, put a pie there, shoot a guy in the face, eat the pie, close up the walls, back to being a building again, all within 1 second. Like, I'm sitting here throwing my controller across the fucking room. I'm pissed. I'm just, fuck this game, fuck that. I'm fucking uninstalling it. But with zero build, I mean, I got nothing to worry about now. If I suck, I suck. Like, it's all coming down to like a gun ability, a gun game. If you know the gun mechanics, you can shoot a straight line. Like, I feel like this is kind of more even playing ground. But that could be said again for the building ability. That is what made the game. A lot of people are upset with there being no build, but at the same time, there's a lot of people that are excited for the no build. So, I mean, it's 50-50. I feel bad for the guys that are really good at what they do in this game. So that sucks. But for me, I'm looking at coming back. Now it's just a gun game. What are you thinking? Like, you got a chance to actually play the zero build. So how was it?
Well, I'll tell you how it was. I was cracking domes from across the map because I'm fucking
fuck
like
yeah.
that. Yeah. No. No, it was good. So if any of you didn't follow Fortnite, like the vast majority of us gave up on and didn't, there was a lot of content seasons. They always have ridiculously cool content, ridiculously cool events.
God, do they ever.
Holy fuck, does this game like I bitch about Fortnite jokingly about how it's like a sweat fest for babies, but like honestly, this game does so many things right. It is ridiculous. I cannot give it enough praise. And in the very beginning, before it got insanely build heavy, it was very good. The shooting in this game is very good. Destructible environments in this game makes it very compelling. Back in the beginning when we were just building ramps, everyone was fighting on ramps. Combat was still pretty fun. And then Kyle's right, as he explained, it got to this point where in the meta where kids just were so cracked that they were able to build skyscrapers and edit and do all this other stuff. And that's just not how I like to play. I like my shooters to be shooters, and that was Bob the Builder Simulator. So like I kind of gave up on that shit. But you know, I did enjoy it in the beginning, and I am excited to see all the new content they're bringing out. So now that there's a chance for me to go back and play it the way I would prefer to play it, it's actually really exciting. And I did get a chance to play a bunch of games with my buddies. There's some really bizarre SBMM. So like if you haven't played the game in like a century, they're gonna make you play like essentially bot lobbies for a while. So we were like walking away with dubs constantly because people were just literal bots. Like not even like they were bad and they were bots. Like they were literally bots. Like they populate lobbies with bots, especially if you're like getting back into it or starting out, so you don't just get fucking edited on and die. But near the end of my play, when it started to peak a little bit more and getting more competitive matches, it was really fun. The shooting is still very good. Were some real Fortnite kids in there, and it made me laugh how bad they were at shooting. So that was
Oh,
good.
God.
So I feel like the tables have turned. I'm like, I could shoot a pixel from across the universe, but I can't build to save my life. So that made it really fun for me. And in the beginning of this content season, they were like, the building's broken. That was the whole story behind it, so we couldn't build. And then now building's back, but they've also added the no build mode. So before it was no build at all, and then now building's coming back, and there's also going to be a no build mode. So they must have seen like a huge spike in return player base to make it, a playable mode continuously. And I think
Yeah.
it's like straight up like you can play no build battle royale for everything, like solos, duos, squads, trios, whatever. Like they didn't just go like you have one playlist. Like if you remember that little game Warzone where they'll have like a limited time mode and they're like, but it's only duos, and you're like, well, that's really stupid. They don't do that here because Fortnite does everything right. And they're like, you can play any playlist you want with no build, and that exists now. So I'm very excited to see where this goes in the future. I don't know how heavily I'll get back into it, but it definitely has piqued my interest now that it's accessible. And I feel like a lot of people out there could relate to your and my story about how things just
Yeah.
got out of hand, and now this brings the fun back, man. This brings the
Oh,
fun back.
it's 100% more playable at this point now. We don't got these kids like slam dunking on us with these towers they're able to build in like mere seconds. It's like absolutely insane how fast they are.
Yeah,
And then
dude.
the editing aspect and just everything about what they were able to do in the game was just so busted. I just could not keep up with it. It made
Yeah.
it so frustrating to play the game with that. But that is what the game was. Kids are really good at what they did. Nothing bad to say about them. They're doing good.
Yeah.
I don't do good with that. I am straight up shooter. I am not going to be the guy building anything or anything along those lines.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, it's cool that they're bringing back both modes, because one thing I noticed on like some rage highlights, for example, there's a lot of guys that are just like literally quitting lobbies. They're like, I don't even know what to do. Like, I can't kill these guys. I'm just getting shit on. Like, what am I supposed to do if I can't build? Like the game's just completely ruined for them. So it's cool that Epic is doing it right, where they're staying true to their original fan base that were good with the building and still like trying to help out the returning fan base for the zero build. So they're accommodating for both sides. So that's really cool to see that Epic's doing this.
Yeah.
Super exciting. I'm getting it on the download right now because I actually want to play it now with zero build.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
We'll have to run some games one of these days. But yes, it is very, very
Yeah.
cool. Holy shit, is there just so much content in that game, man. You go
Oh,
back and
do
you're
they
like,
have
what
so
is
much?
this? What is that? So many
Skins?
skins. Oh my
They
god.
killed the skin game.
Dude.
Man.
I'm a
Like
grown
my
man,
kid
but
there
even me. Holy fuck.
bought a pie skin. It's like some serial killing looking pie guy. It's such a cool looking skin.
Dude.
And like the Ariana Grande skin, like it transforms as like an evil version, like a fairy version, like whatever. I don't know what like completely, but the skins look amazing.
He's an old man. He's like,
Every
I don't know what I'm looking at anymore, but it's cool
It's
looking.
shiny. Things are happening. Like I don't even know what I'm looking at. Like everything just looks awesome. The skins are just so cool. So
Dude,
cool.
it's I like I said, I'm a grown man, and even I can respect the fact that their skin game is strong. You can go in the store and just scroll forever, and you're like, how in the fuck? Like, no
I'm
wonder you
afraid.
guys make all the money, because there's just
Yeah.
endless things to buy that are cool, and they're not like Warzone where they're just like, we reskinned a guy, it's a new character now. They're like full on new, new characters, new fucking pieces. Like, they actually make it new and exciting, and they just keep doing it, man. Like, the track record on this game is ridiculous. As much as it's meme worthy, it's just, fuck me, they just know how to do it. Everyone could
Yeah,
learn. If you want to make a live service game and it's even remotely similar to Fortnite, just follow the formula and actually do the work, and there you go. That's how you make a great game. You just actually try. I don't know what to tell. I don't know what to tell people
I don't
about,
know.
but yes, it's very cool. Very cool.
And my credit card's a little worried now because there's some cool shit I'm going to be buying, and you can bet on that once I jump back in on this game.
Dude,
If it's as fun as I think it's going to be, then yeah, money's going to be spent.
yeah. I
A little
had
worried about that.
I had a few V-Bucks left from back in the day, and I was like,
Oh God.
ooh, and I was like, no. No,
Nope.
no, not
You,
today.
you don't need that. You don't need that.
I resisted. I felt strong for 15 minutes where I was like, I'm not gonna buy this Fortnite skin. I felt good about myself. But yes, very cool. I almost bought the season pass. Regardless, we're another topic. It's very cool. We will definitely have to run some games. Recommend people who've given up on it, check it out again. It actually is refreshing. It is fun. And then if you haven't played in a while, man, you get some fucking free games. You just get free dubs for a little bit until you get reacquainted with it. But
bring your highs really high until you get into some real kids, and then you're back down to like bring it back down to level headedness.
yeah, reasonable. Some of these kids can't shoot their guns, so if you can shoot, you're doing all right. It's fun. It brings the fun back. It brings the randomness of it back. It feels it more like a battle royale where it's about like what you find and how you manage to make it work, not like what mechanics can you manipulate in your favor. So it is pretty dope.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And now,
nope, so that's cool. I'm excited about it.
You know what time it is now?
It's a time. Something.
It's time for the reviews. And there's actually a few reviews this week. Quick review. Halo still sucks. And that's all I'm going to say about it. It still sucks.
Still sucks.
Episode 2 was worse than episode 1.
I'm sure I still like it.
So, I don't know if you'll like episode 2, to be honest.
Pretty slow? I haven't got a chance to watch it yet.
Dude, if you thought anything cool happened in episode 1, nothing cool happens in episode 2. There's like nothing.
My opinion, episode 2 sucked.
Yeah.
On to the next
thing. So it's been a reoccurring joke over the last couple episodes that you've watched the new Resident Evil movie, not the one with the fucking Russian broad, Mila Jovovich. You're talking like the new one.
I did watch that one. I'm talking Welcome to Raccoon City.
Welcome to Raccoon City. So I finally sat down and watched this. Okay.
Yep.
And I have to say, it's okay. The meme would be that I would say it fucking sucks, but it honestly,
it doesn't fucking suck.
It does not suck, but it's not good. And let me explain. I'm not trying to shit on it.
I'll let you finish.
I'm not trying to shit on it too hard. Like, it's not the worst movie I've ever seen, but there's a lot going on, and there's not a lot of justification for most of it. So, like, in terms of story, there's not a lot there. In terms of Resident Evil, like, fanfare stuff, I think there's a lot going on in there, and I can see the person that made this movie wanted to, like, just get everything they fucking could of Resident Evil in there. They wanted to take, like, all the Resident Evil DNA and just pump it in there with, like, familiar scenery, familiar enemies, familiar characters. While they might not be, like, perfect, they do throw a lot at you in this movie. But in terms of story, it definitely fell off a little bit more than I would have appreciated a little bit more story. And the story they do tell you it's kind of weak. But if you like Resident Evil and you like kind of the more like gritty, dark, fighting aspects of it, then this movie does have a fair share of that. So in saying that, I will say it's okay.
That sounds like a hell yeah. It's a good movie to me.
That sounds a hell yeah.
Hell yeah, it's right up there with Mogan Train for sure, 100%.
No.
Tear jerking and everything. It was
No.
fucking that's top tier shit
I
right there. That was a
cried, but
good
it
movie.
wasn't because it was emotionally good. It's because I'm like,
You say,
holy
you
fuck,
say that.
there's
You
still a
say
half an
that.
hour left of this movie. No. All jokes aside, it actually wasn't as bad as I was anticipating. So I will say that. Is it the fucking greatest movie I've ever seen? Definitely not. But it's far from shit, but it's far from great. So you take that as it is.
No, I'll take that. That's good enough for me. Like I
Review.
said, it was a pretty good movie.
You're like, yeah, dude. Dude, I'm happy that you're happy with my opinion. I didn't want to make a grown man cry.
Fuck this movie. This is dog shit. It's nothing to do. This shouldn't even be called fucking Resident Evil. What is this?
Just pull out my legal pad of just notes. Just, yeah, this sucked. This was wrong. This character's stupid.
Wrong.
Yeah, it wasn't quite
All
that
of
bad.
it.
There was a lot of really cool like scenes. I will say that.
Oh yeah.
They did a lot of cool stuff.
I enjoyed the shit out of that movie. It was super good.
I don't regret watching it, but I'll never watch it again. I will say that.
I plan on watching it at least one more time.
Oh god.
At least one.
At least one more time.
At least.
So Kyle,
Yeah.
there's a couple new Marvel things this week. I don't
Couple.
know, people might have heard of them, but there's like that Moon Knight show.
They might have. Moon Knight. Not to be mistaken with Moonfall, the other movie that is on Prime. A lot of people seem to be saying Moonfall and Moon Knight. There is a difference.
I didn't know there was a
Moon. Oh, you didn't know about Moonfall?
No, I knew about it, but I didn't know it was like a thing where people were getting confused. Or like,
I don't know if it's actually a thing. I just know like some
Dude.
of my family members are like, "Oh, did you see Moonfall?" I'm like, no, not yet. Oh, it's super cool. It's from Marvel. I mean, you mean Moon Knight? I'm like, oh no, I'm pretty sure it's Moonfall. I'm like, it's Moon Knight. Moon Knight's the one you're thinking about.
Dude, I just love the idea of somebody being like, dude, you gotta watch fucking Moon Knight. And then they go home and watch Moonfall and they're like, what the fuck? They're like, this is nothing good. Like you described. Like
the moon came down, destroyed the earth. I'm like, whoa, what?
Oscar Isaac wasn't in it? Like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? But you've watched it.
I watched it. I watched
the one whole episode, and they're giving us that little fucking bird feeder drip every week where you're like, you get one, you gotta wait, you get one. So what did you think of episode 1, Kyle?
Damn. That was a good pilot episode. I gotta say, that was super good. The way they really put us into his shoes in terms of confusion. He has no idea what's going on. He has no idea why there's these voices in his head. Before I say any more, spoilers, just in case. I'm probably gonna say something that you don't want to know about. So just spoiler alert. Just
do a quick spoiler-free review. Give me your 2 minutes. I'll give you my 2 minutes.
I think this movie was really good. You understand the problems the main character is going through. They portrayed it perfectly, visually amazing, storyline amazing, main villains. There's a lot of things going on, and everything was just awesome and portrayed in a very good way that you will enjoy it and you will be on the edge of your seat just watching it, wondering what's going to happen next. Awesome storytelling so far. And this is just the pilot episode. We're not even all the way in yet. We're like, what's episode 2 going to bring? So for me, spoiler free as I can make it, really good. And you really understand the confusion that the main character is going through. And Oscar Isaac is killing it with this character. He is such a good actor. Absolutely amazing.
Yes.
What are your spoiler free
my spoiler
info on this
review is if it's fucking shit. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's really good. It's really good. Yeah, like, and if you're kind of I would say if you're kind of over the like more childish aspects of Marvel TV and movies, like this one might be refreshing for you. It's definitely more serious. It's definitely a lot more visceral and graphic than other stuff. I wouldn't say it's like, overwhelmingly like gory or anything, but there's definitely a lot more like, I don't know, aggressive edge to the fighting and what have you. Yeah. A little bit of like horror-esque type themes. So it's a little more serious in my opinion. And yeah, I pretty much mirror everything Kyle said. Oscar Isaac is fucking killing it. The show's good. Fucking watch it, especially if you're kind of in the mood for something more serious but comic booky. So That was spoiler free. Give me the spoiler warning. It's triggered. We're gonna spoil some stuff. Give me your spoiler review. What did you fucking think of it?
I like that you brought up like the gory part because right off the hop when like the movie or the show first starts, you got Buddy busting like a crystal glass cup and putting the glass into his shoes. Like what the fuck was that about?
Yeah, dude.
That was brutal. He just slips on these little sandals filled with glass for reasons I do not know. The just like the overall like I was super surprised at how like immersive you are as the watcher to understand how confusing it is for this person to live his life and not understand what's going on because we're kind of along for the ride for that because we don't really know what's going on either. You just know that he's tethering himself to his bed because he assumes that he always wakes up in random places. He doesn't know how he got there. He's always hurt. Something's going, so he's trying to like try and catch himself in a way, it would appear. So he's got like all these booby traps rigged up. He's got himself tethered to a post to his bed. He's got sand around his bed so he can see footprints to see if he did in fact actually get up and leave. His alter ego is Mark, a mercenary who's a complete badass, super awesome. Uh it's cool how he does the blackouts too. So in the fighting sequences, he'll be as he is, who is Steven. He's a very soft, uh, kind-hearted man, and he's really confused at what's going on. He's like got guns in his hand. He's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't know what's going on." And then you see him black out. His eyes roll in the back of the head. The camera kind of shutters. Then it goes black for a split second. Wakes up. Scenery's changed. Bunch more people dead. It's kind of like, holy shit. This is what Mark does, and you kind of see the conflict between the personalities happening there. Um, yeah, I just really like how they're telling the story so far because you really understand, like, holy shit, yeah, this is confusing. I see what he's seeing. He knows that there's something else there, but he doesn't understand it fully. And we're kind of in that same boat until we get to the end of the movie there, where we see Moon Knight for this split second where he whoops the shit out of that dog demon thing, whatever the hell that was, Anubis. I don't know what that was. That was super cool. Goes from Steven getting chased by this dog to turning into Moon Knight, where the dog is like trying to run away from him, and you see him drag it back into the bathroom and just whoop the shit out of it. Oh, it was so good.
Yeah, man.
But I got not like can't say enough good things about the first episode. I feel like the storytelling is just bang on. Anything I could have wanted, it's doing it for me. Like what are your thoughts with this show? I mean, it killed it for me. How about you?
Yeah, it's very good.
Might have been good.
It's very good.
Very.
I agree with the same sentiment you shared. Like the way they're telling the story is very compelling. You know, we're introduced to this guy Steven. He's kind of like, you know, an introvert. He seems a little bit like passive. He doesn't you know, he seems definitely shaken by his sleeping disorder of some kind. They don't really explain much, obviously, because it's, you know, the first episode, so they're kind of rolling into this mystery with that character. Where Kyle's right, like, you know, he suffers from some kind of insomnia, and then when he passes out, he seems to lose time. So he's taking precautions by, you know, essentially home alone, booby trapping his own house, where, you know, he's got the fucking tether to the pole, the sand around his bed, the tape on the door. He takes like a bunch of precautions to essentially, if he was to wake up or, you know, sleepwalk or whatever's happening, that like he wouldn't be able to leave his house without him actually knowing that he's left. And then, yeah, you're right. We're introduced to potentially an alter ego of his, Mark, who's definitely the more badass type, and he gets shit done. And then there's also this like looming voice echoing around in his mind that it seems to be like some kind of like Egyptian god. That's what they're alluding to, or something along those lines. There's some kind of like entity inside him also, or at least that's the way they're making it seem. So there's like a voice that looms over seemingly both Mark and Steven, and then they all kind of jumble around in there to see who's like taking the mantle. And so far, we've only seen Steven really take the mantle until the very end of the episode, where we actually get to see Mark, you know, put on the costume, which I don't know if that's like actually real or if it's like a personification of the character. Like, I'm not really too sure. I'm assuming it'll be genuine, like when he dons the suit, he's actually in the suit, and it's not like a hallucination of the character or like a visualization. But I'm not certain. Um, Steven finds himself like in the middle of some unknown fucking escapade to collect some Egyptian relic. He then encounters this fucking religious fucking, I don't know what you call, like, god deity type of dude. Like Ethan Hawke's character is kind of like the second
Some
coming
type
of
of prophet
Christ.
looking dude.
Yeah, like he's kind of like a messiah. He's like judging people, and if the scales of justice or whatever they are deem you unworthy, he essentially kills you, takes your soul or takes your life force. Some version of that. Nothing has been really explained, but the groundwork is set to just have you wanting more honestly all the time. Like every beat of this show is like that. Like you want to know what's going on with Steven, who is Mark, who is the other voice, why do they want these Egyptian relics? Why does Ethan Hawke's character want these Egyptian relics? Does he know what's going on with you? He seemingly like kind of maybe seems to have some insight into what's going on with Steven, but not like 100%. He doesn't like say like, "Oh, you got shit in you," but he's kind of like, "You got darkness in you." So like alluding to maybe like he knows more than he's letting on to. And then we don't actually even get to see a lot of the brutality in the fights throughout the episode because like Steven's like cutting in and out of consciousness and we're seeing the story told from his perspective. So there was a lot of that where like, he gets surrounded by 4 bad guys and then like, blacks out and then he wakes up and they're all fucking dead on the ground and he's like standing there holding like a bloody thing and he's like, "Ugh, like let's get the fuck out of here, dude. They're all dead. I didn't kill them." But like, so I mean, that stuff's cool. It sets up like a lot of like desire to figure out like what's going on because you're seeing the aftermath of it, but we're not seeing like what's actually happening. So it's like I think situations like that are great because it kind of creates like a desire to see more on 2 fronts because you want to see what the fuck's happening to Steven, but then you also want to see the action that's taking place because it's like very fast and you can tell like whoever Mark is a fucking Billy badass because he's just dropping fools like it ain't no big deal. So I mean, the show kind of makes you just want more the whole time. It's a perfect opening episode. We get to see enough of Steven's life and how his life's kind of just fucking thrown through a loop. And then we also get to see enough like, visceral potential action on the horizon. I don't particularly love Ethan Hawke's character in this. I'm not trying to shit talk him. It's just like as a villain, I was like, I don't really know how imposing you're gonna be. Because he's kind of just like, "I have scales on my arm. Steven, give me the scarab." So like he hasn't done anything that really makes me like afraid of him yet. But I'm assuming there will be more on the horizon. At the end of the episode, they're in the museum. He releases that like devil shadow dog thing on him, and that's when we actually get to see Mark fight, and it's fucking dope. So I mean, it's an incredible first episode. I recommend anyone who wants to see something a little bit more serious on the Marvel comic side to watch it, and the acting in it is incredible. Um, yeah, I don't know how much more praise I could give this show. I'm definitely going to keep watching it. I like Oscar Isaac, and he's just delivering in spades in this show. And I have a feeling we're going to see way more action once we actually start to kind of roll into more of like what Mark is doing and seeing it from Mark's perspective. I do kind of wonder maybe if like Steven isn't even the dominant like persona or like identity. Like part of me maybe thinks like Mark existed and then somehow Steven manifested. So like we don't really know whose like body it really is. And I think
That
that's
narrating voice also refers to Steven as the parasite in
yeah.
that one line there. He's like, "Oh great, the parasite's back. Why can't you just leave us alone?" So
Yeah.
yeah, that's something.
So maybe it is like alluding to the fact that like he's come afterwards or something. Like we don't really know, or maybe it's like he's alluding to like that's his fear, like Mark's fear, and it somehow manifests into a separate identity. And they refer to like fear as a parasite. Who knows? Lots of cool things to speculate on. A great first episode, incredible action, incredible acting. Everything you can want in a comic book movie and more, in my opinion. I can't tell you if it's really good to like in reference to like Moon Knight lore because I am not familiar with the character other than this TV show. But as a standalone series, it's very good so far. So I'm excited for more episodes.
Can't say enough good things about it. It's definitely got that carrot dangling in front of my face to just keep coming back every week for more and more and more because it is that good.
Dude,
It is so good.
It is so good.
Can't get enough of it. But yeah, that's a good point. The whole what if he is the after part? Because the looming narrator voice or whatever you want to call him refers to Steven as a parasite. Why can't you just leave us alone? So yeah, that's a good part right there too. I wonder if they'll kind of do the episodes kind of like because right now we're in Steven's point of view. I wonder if we'll get like maybe like an episode of like Mark's point of view where he kind of like blacks out and then he wakes up. He's like, oh shit, time to get serious kind of deal. So, but I'm not too sure how that would tie in. But yeah,
Yeah.
there's just so much going on that I want to watch more and know more and see more.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I definitely have to rewatch the first episode again just to maybe like try to pick up on some stuff that I might have glanced over my first go. But yeah, I'm really hoping we do get like an episode or several episodes later on where we get to see the story either told from Mark's perspective or we just see more of his perspective so we understand exactly like kind of how that counterpart works. But it would be kind of cool like if you watch WandaVision.
Yes, oh yes, so good.
So minor spoiler for WandaVision here. There's a point where like you actually get to see the show through like the witch's perspective. You know what I mean? Like in the later episodes, you get to see that like it was really her after all. And they're like do
Yeah,
the little
yeah.
mock show. So maybe we'll get one of those episodes where it's like really what Mark did after all, and then we get to see like all the gruesome action sequences and stuff. That would be pretty neat. But yeah, super like who knows? There's so much shit to look forward to. They haven't answered any questions, so lots of stuff to fucking sink your teeth into in this show.
They're killing it. They're doing so good. These Disney TV series of superheroes are just doing so great.
Dude,
WandaVision, for example, was one of those. I think it was like one of the first. Was it like the first one that they started? I think it was.
yes.
And they gave us a trailer of something, and it turned out to be not at all what I thought it was going to be. Because when I first watched it, I was thinking like a 1960s sitcom, some type of bullshit like that. But it was not at all like that. It was completely amazing.
Yeah.
So like Disney, you're just these TV series are killing it right now. They're so good. Every single one of them just keeps me coming back for more and more and more. And I just want more episodes. I'm in it for the long run. I can't get enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely not one of those Marvel haters where I'm like, this is all the same. I'm like, nope, give me all of them. Just keep making them. I don't introduce me to all the heroes I know nothing about. Just keep making them. I'll be there eating popcorn and laughing the whole way. But yeah, I
Plus how
mean,
yeah.
they spend all the money. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Where the Halo show spends very little money and we get like a little bit of janky action. Moon Knight's like, nah. Disney's is like, fucking take all of the money, make all the shit look like movie quality. So like if they ever jump to the big screen, like nothing feels out of place. Everything feels like 1-to-1. The quality is insane. They do not give a shit about spending all the money when they make these shows, and it shows.
Oh yeah. Story shows, fucking visual show, everything is just to a T. They didn't cut any corners. Like dotting their I's, everything is just like so good the way it fits in. The greatest puzzle I've ever seen.
Yeah, I'm really
Everything's
excited.
just fitting into place.
Really excited to see how it all unfolds, and I'm sure we'll keep
Oh.
talking about it because it's exciting and it's
Yeah,
good. And
week after week, we'll have a new episode.
Yeah, we probably won't talk so much about the Halo show. Maybe like because I honest to God, I can't find anything to really be positive about. And I do really like this show to be more of like us sharing our excitement about stuff and like be critical for sure. But like, I don't want it to be like just a shitting on Halo show every week kind of thing. So maybe we'll save like a series review or something for the end. But yeah, I mean, you probably won't hear us talk too much about the Halo show till later. Because right now, it's just going to be every week me going, it fucking sucks still. Like,
don't want to be the nerding out cast to the shit on Halo cast every day.
It'll be like everyone gets to the Halo portion of their episode and they're like, we've heard it, we're good. So I don't want it to be like that. But Moon Knight, I'm glad to keep talking about it because I think this mystery, like as it unfolds, there's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about. So I think, and it's exciting. I'm excited. You seem to be excited for it. So
yeah,
we'll try to bring that excitement about that here and kind of maybe we can share our opinions or ideas of what we think is going to happen, and we'll see what happens. So that we look forward to more Moon Knight, way less Halo.
Way less Halo, more
Moon almost Knight. No Halo, and
not to be confused with Moonfall by any means.
Yes, as we've discussed, do not watch. Well, maybe watch Moonfall, but watch Moon Knight.
Moonfall
first.
actually looks pretty good.
Yeah,
I might give that a watch too. Do give Moon Knight a watch.
Yeah,
being the Marvel Disney TV series.
Yeah,
of the
yes, not the
superhero we are
one that's
currently
on
talking about.
Amazon Prime. Yeah, not the
Yeah,
one
not
on
that,
Amazon
not that
Prime.
one.
No,
Don't confuse the two. I don't
I
know if I'm
might,
the only one that thinks it.
I might check that. I might check that Moonfall show out. I've seen ads for it everywhere. So, and Prime
And
has
they
some
are
good shit. So,
advertising the crap out of it. I did watch
oh, that's Bezos
the
money.
beginning couple. I think I watched like maybe 30 minutes into it before I fell asleep. I kind of put it on at like 1 in the morning.
I mean,
But from
we
what
all
I've
know.
seen so far, it's a pretty good watch so far. Pretty cool. I like it.
All right, then we'll have to check it out. Well,
Yeah, yeah.
there was another
Speaking of
Marvel
Marvel,
thing that came
yeah.
out this week, and that is Morbius. You know, that little Jared Leto ditty that's been fucking filmed and in the can for 9
Man.
years, and then they finally released it. Kyle, the
Yeah.
spoiler, you've had a chance to see it. I've had a chance to see it. Give me
So
your short, spoiler-free review.
you got it. My short spoiler-free review of Morbius.
Yeah.
Morbius. Uh it was okay. It was okay.
Whoa.
Um
Whoa.
from the hype and such that I got from it did not really pan out to what I thought it could be in terms of story alone. There was a lot of missing elements that left me confused along the ride, especially being somebody that doesn't know any of the comic book lore behind Morbius. There was a lot of story elements that were missing and didn't make sense, and things that I don't know why they were that way anymore. Um, so my spoiler for it was a good watch. I enjoyed watching it. I don't regret paying to go see it in theaters. But there was some missing stuff about it. Is all I gotta say. But I do recommend giving it a watch. It wasn't completely terrible, but there was some missing elements and some stuff that just didn't really make sense the way they told the story. Is where I'm at. What about you? What did you think of this?
Okay, my spoiler-free review is this is a prime example of what separates Sony Marvel movies and Marvel movies. Uh, Marvel has this formula. They managed to introduce these characters in such a fashion that like every time we're introduced to a new one, they either find an interesting way or just some kind of hook to drag us in. This is not like that. This is like very weak story wise. I feel fucking terrible for Jared Leto. This dude cannot seem to catch a script that's like actually good. Like he had a rough fucking Joker. He's having a rough Morbius. So like I don't know. This guy hasn't been in something really noteworthy in a while. But yeah, I would say I echo the same sentiment as you. The story under delivers and is downright confusing at times. I would not share the sentiment that I regret going to see it in theaters. I don't say I regret it, but I definitely wouldn't recommend anyone going to see it in theaters. This is definitely something I would just wait to watch at home. Um, so that's kind of where I'm at with spoiler free. But let's dig into the spoiler part of the review. You guys have been warned. If you give a shit about Morbius, we're gonna spoil it.
Here comes the spoilers.
So Kyle, give me your spoiler
Yeah.
review.
Okay, so how he develops that serum and everything. Okay, at that one scene where we see Jared Leto testing his ability to withstand drinking blood in that glass room. So he's sitting in the glass room. He's trying to see how long he could last for. Milo comes in and he's like, "Oh, what's going on here? You got? Do you remember how he sets the two vials into the vial holders? There's two of them, right?
Yep.
You remember seeing two.
Yes. Yeah.
Later on in the scenes, you see Milo scrummaging through stuff. He's getting like fake blood or whatever to give to Morbius. You still see two vials sitting there.
Yep.
Okay, so at some point, Milo is able to take one of these vials and turn himself into a living vampire. But what doesn't make sense is the two vials are still there after the fact of Milo injecting himself with this so-called vial. Is one thing I noticed straight away because I was like really keeping an eye out for it.
Yeah.
So there's like a huge hole right there. There's only two vials. He's already a living vampire, and there's still two vials there. So that just doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah.
And then just the story itself was so jumpy. Jumped everywhere. It left me in the dust like so often. It was kind of like, "Oh, we're here." I'm like, "Okay, so we're here already." Okay, that's like no time at all to process who this character is. I guess we're here where he's catching the bats out of the cave. I wasn't expecting that to be the opening sequence.
Yeah.
And then from there we go back to him being a child at some type of, was it an orphanage or just like a children's hospital where your parents just dump off your unwanted sick kid? Like what the fuck was that?
Yeah, it
Like I just don't
seemed like
understand.
some kind of like long-term care hostel or something.
Yeah, it didn't make sense. I didn't know what the I didn't know where I was. I didn't understand, and, like, the doctor, like, was he gonna be some creepy doctor? I didn't understand, but he turns out to be, like, some type of an adopted father figure for these 2 guys.
Yeah.
Why did Milo stick with the name Milo and not go back to Lucian? I don't understand.
They gave him his
Why did
name, Kyle. Didn't you
why did
didn't
he
you
just
watch the
stick
movie?
with Milo? I just don't get it. Like, why did you do that? What else didn't make sense? Is Milo rich as fuck? Did I miss something?
Yeah, I mean, he seemed to be doing well enough
He's
to fund
rich.
an escapade into the middle of the ocean and all of the equipment they would need to
Yeah.
make the shit. So, yeah,
How the fuck is he
kind of.
rich? It doesn't make sense.
Don't
At
know.
some point, you, like, forget or, like, so they grow up or whatever, Morbius goes to doctor school, he's a doctor,
Yeah.
but he's rich. From what? I don't know what it's from. He's just rich, funding everything he's doing. It's like, what
Yes.
where did this come from?
Yeah,
And is he a
they do make reference that he's their biggest benefactor of the clinic
yeah,
that he works at. Their biggest
but
donor.
not once does it say what he did to, like, get rich. It's just like, "Oh, hey, I'm rich.
Yeah.
Here's
Yeah.
all the money you need. Here's a boat. Here, have fun."
Yeah.
Like, visually, this movie looked really good. Like, they like, all the face, like, like, CGI, the CGI and everything, the fights, like, all that stuff was really cool looking. Story really killed it for me, though. It was
Yeah.
so jumpy. It just jumped from one section to another section, left me wondering, like, "Wait, what happened back here? Why are we here? Like, what's going what's this, though?
Yeah.
Why are we," and then, like, the kissing scene, not once did I think it was romantic between those 2 at all. I thought it was like a mentorship kinda style, and then they're just, like, on the rooftop or whatever, and they're just like he's just like, "Hey, close your eyes." And then she's like, "Okay," and, like, closes her eyes, he's like, "Come closer," and then they just, like, I'm like, "What the fuck? Like, what even led up to this? Like, what is happening right now?" There's,
Yeah.
like, there's no backstory to this.
Yeah,
What?
they didn't lay the groundwork great for that.
No, there's just so much story hole, it, like, left me confused. If the story was as good as the visuals, this movie would have just dominated, but yeah, the fuck me, like, I could not follow this story at all.
Yeah.
It was so over the place.
Yeah, dude.
Like, I don't really know what else to say about it, really. Like, it was a good watch, visually very appealing, but a lot of it just didn't really make sense, like, at all. I don't know. Would you like, are you on the same boat? Like, I don't even know what to say about it.
Yeah, so I would say what you're saying about the story is very similar to what I would say about the story. It does jump around a lot. It does not
Yep.
develop anything, I would argue, anything that I could bring to note where I'd be like, you know what? They really told this part of the story well. Not really any of it is told well. Kyle's right. They open the spoilers, full on spoilers. They open the movie. He's, a cripple on a helicopter going to the mouth of a cave in Africa or something to get this random bat that only exists here. And he lures them out of the cave, even though they're apparently like super dangerous to the point where they can kill animals, like
Yeah.
large animals. And he's like willing to engulf himself in a circle of them, would use his own hand cut with blood as bait. So like that whole thing is like, it seems like very over dramatic and like it doesn't feel real.
Like, how did he not die in that situation? Because these things take down, like, full grown, like, fucking, I don't
Yeah.
know, like, cows for like, a size reference. These little bats take down, like, a cow, no
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah. It shows
What's to
like,
stop them from taking down a crippled dude? Like, I just don't understand what the fuck happened there. He's clearly surrounded by, like, millions of these
oh yeah.
fucking things, and nothing happens. We just cut scene there, we're on to him accepting some Nobel Prize.
Yeah. I think what they're trying to do is like depict him as like, one, he's not afraid of death because he's pretty much dying all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's one of those guys where like his condition, which they never really fully explain what is going on. They casually glance over at one time saying where like his body uh can't produce coagulants properly, so he needs to like essentially transfuse his blood like multiple times a day. But they don't really like explain that thoroughly that that's what he's going on. To my knowledge, they barely explain what is actually like ailing him. So I'm assuming the approach that the mouth of the cave is to show that he's like, he's already prepared to die. So like luring the bats out is not a big deal, but it doesn't come across. It doesn't feel genuine. It kind of just feels cheesy. Like you want to make this character look cool, even though that like he's done nothing yet. And why should we care? And then they flash to him supposed to be collecting some kind of prize for all of his, science shit that he's done, which they just like blow through real quick. They're like, yeah, he made
Felt
fake
so
blood.
unnecessary.
He made artificial blood that exists in the world. And you're like, okay, I guess that's a thing that exists. All right. And you're like, there's no real buildup for that, but cool. And
Just
then
for him to like not even accept the prize at all.
yeah,
Like, there's no description.
Yeah, he apparently blows off like a bunch of royalty, and it's like he's supposed to be like poo-pooing on them, but they don't show what he did, so it's like a couple characters just randomly tell us that like, yeah, you shouldn't have done that, and he's like, well, I'm
You know
Morbius,
me.
and you're like, well, show us that. Like maybe we would have like bonded with the character if we seen him talking shit about like hierarchy or something and make him more relatable. You're like, yeah, he doesn't give a shit, man. Fuck them. Like they're just like, nah, that's not important. Keep moving. Then they're like, we go to flashbacks, and Kyle's right. Like Morbius is in like some kind of long-term care facility. Doesn't really make any sense. They don't really explain like, why he's there, if he has parents, what's going on. They're just like, yeah, he's fucking there. And this other kid comes, whose name is Lucian, but he calls him Milo. And he's like, was there a Milo here before me? And he's like, yeah, there was a Milo 1, 2, and 3, and now you're Milo. And you're like, okay, that means nothing. I guess he's Milo now. They never refer to him as Lucian for like the rest of the movie. They always refer to him as Milo. It's very bizarre. And then they go back to being adults. Turns out the bat he collected in the fucking cave has some kind of anticoagulant in its saliva. So in order to digest blood, so he transfuses, its fucking DNA with his somehow through a serum, which he only makes a couple vials of. And Kyle's right. The vial, somehow Milo gets a vial of it to turn himself into a vampire, but the vials are still there. So like it really doesn't make any sense because the vials never go missing and there's only ever 2. So unless he managed to like recover one from the boat or something, which they never explain, if he does, they don't explain it to anyone. So there's just so many holes where you're just like left trying to like fill the gaps yourself, and you're like, I guess that, yeah, kind of we got here somehow. Yeah, it makes sense. And then Milo is rich, like to the point where a man would not have to do anything. So you're like, now that you're living forever, why would you be a dickhead? Because you're already a rich dude. Like, what more do you need? They don't really set like a precedence for him being like overly aggressive towards his fellow man. Like it would have made more sense if like, they show a scene where Milo gets like beat up by a bunch of school bullies, and it's kind of like, he feels like he's pressed down by them. They kind of depict it slightly. It would have made more sense if they showed more of those scenes where he was like constantly getting overlooked or constantly, put aside, like, and him being like feeling less of a human, which I'm sure they already kind of do, like, because that's the whole depiction is like they're on their deathbed all the time, they feel weak, they can't do anything, so like their characters are kind of, they feel less than normal, but they don't really depict it in a way that would make it relatable for him to be like aggressive and like overly dominant when he does become powerful. Like it would make more sense for me if he was like, they showed him getting fucked on repeatedly over the years, why Morbius is just slam dunking shit for free, and like, so you see their two parallel journeys like make sense, where you're like, okay, Morbius, he's doing good and he doesn't care about the fucking accolades, and this guy cares about money because he wants to be powerful because he feels powerless. And then when he finally gets the power, he starts looking down on everyone else, thinking like, you're fucking, subhuman now. Like he's the new dominant species, and the kind of this alpha predator. Like it would have made more sense to me if they took that approach. And then when he's just killing people willy nilly, it makes way more sense because you're like, he doesn't give a fuck about these people anymore because he feels like not only did he get to their level, he surpassed them. So he's like the new thing. They're the new wave of individuals. And they make a reference to like they're Spartans. We are the few. And it's like it doesn't
Against the many. Yeah.
it doesn't really like it doesn't fit. It does, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of like a hollow sentiment. They like try to use history to like bolster that bond between them, but it's fucking stupid. We don't get to see them together all that much. Morbius leaves to go to school, and then as far as we know, they never see each other again until they're like, hey, we've been friends our whole lives, and you just have to fill in those blanks. And fucking Milo's rich, and Morbius is a fucking insanely good doctor who built artificial blood. Yeah. Neither of these dudes have anything to cry about other than the disease, and they fix that. And then that seems to be like a thing I'm supposed to be upset for them about. Like they're like, oh, the cure is so much worse than the disease. I don't fucking think so, bro. You're, superhuman. You have all these crazy abilities, and all you got to do is drink blood. You're like, I'm pretty sure you could just pay a bunch of fucking people to keep donating you blood and you'd be good for the rest of your lives. Like, I don't understand for the life of me why this is like a thing that like is supposed to be compelling. We're like, he's going to stop using artificial blood soon and he's going to have to use real red blood. And you're like, oh no. And you're like, yeah, but there's a fucking freezer full in your fucking lab. So just keep drinking it. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not a smarty pants like this guy who's able to make artificial blood. But if there's fucking blood in the freezer and you could just get more and your guy friend has got endless supplies of monies, just keep buying all the blood.
Yeah.
Or here's the thing. You're a scientist. Science it up and try to figure out a better alternative. Maybe you need to figure out what in the blood is like fueling you and then make a more refined formula or something. Like, I don't know. Like the first thing he thinks of, he's like, he's a fucking rocket genius. And he's like, you know what? I think we're going to have to kill Milo and kill me because this is the only solution. And you're like, okay, so now you're suicidal on top of also being very weird. And then the awkward romance between his like colleague, which
it makes no sense.
They kind of have this like romantic tension, but it's so mild that like do I believe that it exists? Not really. And then the awkward kiss that you're describing was awkward enough.
My God,
but then when they have the really awkward kiss on the roof when she's dying and she bites his fucking lip and sucks his blood down like a fucking weirdo. She's like one drop of blood hits her lips and she's like, get it in me. Like it's just like you're like, whoa. This is supposed to be like emotional. They should have painted it
right creepy. It's like, what the fuck?
Dude, it was like, whoa, are you just like really into blood this whole time? Like, did we miss something? Was there like layering in this throughout the movie where you were just really into blood and that's why you were there? Because you're like, I get to put blood inside of Morbius every day. Every day I get to deal with blood. And then you're like, and then I get to suck his blood off his lip. And you're like, whoa, like what? It's so creepy, dude.
And then don't let it go to waste.
Yeah. And then he immediately is supposed to have sucked her dry of her blood because she's dying anyway. Spoilers, she comes back to life. Haha, who would have thunk that after she swallowed that one micro drop of blood like a fucking fiend.
She's a fucking vampire in a building. All you see is her eyes. She's like, yeah.
Dude, it would have made way more sense. Okay, all right, let me try to summarize this. Well, let's get to the ending, and then I'll work backwards, okay? So the movie ends with a very anticlimactic fight where Jared Leto pins Milo down with using hundreds of thousands of bats, and then he just stabs him in the heart. So it's like the lamest final fight I've ever seen in a Marvel movie. I was like, why even show this? It's just so fucking boring. Like, they have like the cool little interaction, and they end up in like the sewers, and you're like, okay, they're away from everyone, this is where the fight's gonna be. And then they're like, nah, he's just gonna call in a bunch of bat guys that had no pre-build up. You know what I mean? It didn't show him like harnessing the power of bats. It showed him go into the bat cage one time, and he's like, "They're like my brothers. I feel a kingship with them." And you're like, "Okay, like
It would tear
another."
anybody else apart but me.
Yeah, you're like, "Oh, okay, cool, man." And then the next thing you know,
Yeet.
he's like, "Get him, pretties," and they're like holding him down on
Yeah, it's
command,
like
and
what the
then
like what power is that he's able to like it's like an extension of his hand. He's able to like control them in such a
yeah.
fucking way. It's so weird and there's nothing that leads up to him like knowing he can do that.
No, there's no like Spider-Man scene of him like trying to swing across the building or like, you know what I mean, trying to learn
Yeah.
how his fingers work. Like it's just him going like, "Nah, remember that other shit that you guys were just supposed to accept? This is another thing you're just supposed to accept. I can fucking control bats, y'all." And it's like,
Yeah.
okay. And then
How
that's
do
the
you even
fight, dude.
know?
But that's what I'm saying. He has like some like he's clearly figured it out, but like it didn't show us him figure it out. So
Yeah.
like it's kind of one of those things where like I guess he can do this. And the whole time I'm thinking, I'm like, dude, they're not gonna end this fight this way. They're not gonna end this fight this way. Like the fight, like this is not a fight. This is not a final. This is not a final fight in a movie. This is like not. And then of course he just goes over and stabs him in the heart. The second that happened, I was like, this movie's trash because it's like I didn't even get a cool final fight at the end. Like if
What
they,
the fuck is this?
dude, if they duked it out, you know what I mean, and they were just surrounded by bats, like they just, you know what I mean, like it was just this crazy scene where bats are flying around, they're just fucking hurling each other in the fucking sewers, and it's like you got a really good action bout at the end. I'd be like, I could forgive some of the other stuff because there's this really cool fight at the end, but there's not even a really cool fight at the end. And the action they showed throughout the movie isn't terrible, but it's very fast. So if you want a lot of it, like there's a few things, but they're very quick. Like it shows Milo like destroy those police in like 2 seconds. And you're like, yeah, that's fucking dope. But like, that's it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like 4 seconds of him like speed punching four dudes, and you're like, yeah. There's just so much about it that like doesn't make any sense. But that's how they end the fucking movie. And then the post credit scenes. Did you watch the post credit scenes?
Yeah, I did, man. I did.
Okay. So the rift opens up that we've all been familiarized
Yeah.
with the last Spider-Man movie and the Multiverse of Madness. So the Spider-Man universes are merging with the real Marvel universe, like the cinematic universe. So we get Vulture from Tom Holland's Spider-Man popping up in Morbius's world. They don't explain like how or why, but that's what the end scenes depict. And then the next end credit scene, it shows Morbius driving into like the fucking desert to meet Vulture geared up. And then the Vulture's like, yeah, I don't know how I got here, but you know, judging by what I've seen, you and I could do a lot together. And then Morbius is like, fuck yeah, dude. Like he doesn't say that, but that's pretty much what it's like. He's like, yeah, I think so. But it's like up until that point, Morbius is not a villain. Not even
No.
kind of. He thinks about killing himself because he's like so shook by the idea that he might have to actually hurt someone to get blood. It's like a
Yeah.
whole plot line in the movie that like that's why he has to stop Milo because he's like, you are becoming the thing that I don't want to be. Like you're the thing that I'm fearing I turn into. And yet in the end, he's like, "What's up, Vulture? What's up, dog? Let's be villains." Like you're like, "What?"
Hey, this guy's Spider-Man. Let's go fuck him up. Yo,
Yeah,
okay.
you're
Okay.
like, why though? Like, what? I just don't get. Like, why would he? And
No.
then he doesn't go back to get the dead body of his girlfriend off the roof, so he never figures out that she's a fucking vampire too. Like,
Unless
he's
he
just like
does know, it doesn't tell us.
doesn't tell us. You think they would be
He's
a
got no idea.
sobering scene at the end where he like goes, picks her body up in the rain, and he's like, "Oh my god, my love." And no, there's none of that. They're just like, "I left that bitch on the roof. Fuck that.
Yeah.
She was
Oh,
drained of blood."
she's drained
So there's just
out
like
of here.
so much weird shit, dude. It would have made more compelling. It would have made a more compelling movie if like they showed a relationship between him and her developing when he was nothing other than like, you know, a really smart guy who has a devastating disease, and she loves him for the person he is, not for what the thing he becomes. So it would have kind of be like if it's a villain origin story like it's supposed to be as they're depicting at the end, it would have made more sense for Morbius to find himself struggling with the idea to how to keep his humanity as he becomes a predator. Like he becomes something else. He's not human anymore. He's like a different breed of human, right? Theoretically superior. He talks about how like there's something primal awakened in him and all it wants to do is hunt and feed. You're like, that's
Yeah.
fucking cool. That's what makes vampires compelling. It's this kind of like balancing act between, or do you want to be human or do you want to be something else? And it would have made a really compelling movie if it's like he's a guy who feels powerless his whole life, then he finally gets his taste of power and he's struggling with how to manage it, and he doesn't want to give it up, and the only way he can't give it up is because he has to feed on people's blood. And then she's like torn away from him because she's like, you're just not the man I loved anymore, like you're turning into something else. And there's a kind of like this duality to their relationship where you're like, she loved him for him, and then now that he's something else, it's tainted it, and he has to like find a way to save himself to save their relationship. And then like maybe she dies in the end. You can still get a compelling death out of her if she's like that character. And it makes more sense for me to be like, okay, Morbius is actually a villain. He's actually struggling with some stuff that heroes really wouldn't. And we still get a compelling love story. So all that other weird stuff makes more sense. Like them kissing multiple times. There's just
Biting
nothing.
lips.
Yeah, there's just nothing there. Instead, he's just like he's a whiny cripple who turns into a whiny vampire who turns into
Yeah.
a lonely villain who's like, I'm down to clown
Just
Vulture.
so
Like,
much fucking
there's
just
just
holes everywhere. It just doesn't make sense.
they also don't
Everything looks
explain.
amazing for it to be a shitty way to write and a shitty story.
There's just not
Just
much
don't get it.
story there. Like, I don't know what they were
Not at all.
trying to tell. There's little bits of a lot of stuff, but nothing solid. It's crazy, dude.
There was like this awesome way somebody put it. It's like a shitty jigsaw puzzle where you kind of get the picture, but in the end you just don't give a fuck and you stop trying to put it together.
It's like that's a pretty good idea where it's like a puzzle that you've got it almost all built, but then you realize you're missing about like 8 pieces, and you're like, fuck. You know what I
Fuck
mean? And
it.
you just put it back in the box and you forget you ever tried. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
Morbius. You're like, we got to the end. There was a bunch of holes. We don't have the missing pieces. Fuck this. Put it on the shelf. Forget about it. Like, dude, it's just
Fuck me, never mind.
there's such cool elements in this movie, and they kind of lean into like a horror-ish element in certain points. Like in the
Yeah,
boat scene
definitely.
in the beginning, it's very
I
horror-esque.
loved that first person view of him like crawling around, and yeah, that was really
Yes.
cool. I liked that.
They needed way more of that, in my opinion. Like
Yeah.
and he's like not upset about killing those guys. He's like, well, they're mercenaries, but like he's upset about potentially killing that one nurse. He's like, I knew that lady.
Yeah.
He's like, those 8 dudes on the boat, fuck them. Like, I'm not upset about that. I'm upset about that
Oh my
one lady
God.
that dies. But there's like that scene in the boat, very cool. That's like classic vampire movie shit where you're like, ooh, he's lurking, and he fucks them all up and he drains all their blood.
Yep.
And then there's that one scene where the lady's in the hallway with the lights that like turn on as you get to them. And she like sees the light flicker on behind her, and she like turns around, but she doesn't see anything. And then she starts to get like really freaked out. So she like moves a couple more steps forward, and then she turns back around. And then when the light flicks on, you see like the fucking guy crawling on the ground, crawls on the wall, crawls on the roof, and then the light dies. And you're like, okay, whoa, like that's really scary. You know what I mean? Like, I want way
Yeah.
more of that. Make it feel like that the whole time. Like, make it feel like he's struggling because he's that thing also. But like he's Morbius the whole time. He never really loses power or like loses control at all. He's just like, yeah,
No.
I drink blue blood, and then now we're here. Like there's nothing compelling about his character. Milo should have been him essentially. He should have been both of those characters. Milo should have almost not existed. The only problem is you
Yeah.
need a Milo because he's got to fight someone at the end. But it's like really it should have been him struggling with the things Milo was struggling with. Like the control of power and trying to figure out like what he wants to be now. And like, how that's affecting his, humanity and his relationships. There's just nothing that compelling about it. And there's not
No.
the horror edge dies after that like one scene where the lady gets killed in the hallway. After that, there's no more horror. It's all just like them running around, flat out killing dudes in the street and chasing each other in subways and stuff. So it's like, okay, it goes from like a horror movie to like a shitty superhero movie, and then the ending is dog shit.
Yeah.
They don't even have like a good finale fight. They also don't explain why there's smoke curling out of him all the time. Like he's like
Yeah, it almost looked like
moving.
that was like their echolocation kind of thing, just reverberating through the air. It kind of, it looked just like smoke.
Yeah.
And the way he flies too. I don't know. I don't know if it's like visualizing like an airstream or something or like a sound.
Would they
I don't know.
explain
It
it? Would
looked
they
cool.
explain it? No.
No.
At one
It
point he
looked
can
cool. Fuck yeah, it
fly.
looked cool.
He can fly at one point. And there's
Yeah.
no build up. He just does it and we're just like, "Oh, I guess he can fly now." Like there's a lot of that in this movie where you're like, "I guess he's a vampire now. I guess he can fly now. I guess that bitch is
He
dead
does.
now. I guess he can control bats now. I guess that guy's dead now. And I guess he's a villain
Yeah.
now." Like that's the whole movie.
What's up,
Like,
Vulture?
oh,
You want to kill Spider-Man? Yeah, yeah, let's do it.
we don't even know if there's a Spider-Man in that universe.
That's like the other big thing. Everybody's kind of speculating on which Spider-Man's going to be returning for this universe.
Yeah.
So I guess we will see.
I hope we get a
got
Miles Morales,
well.
but
I feel like we're not going to get Tom Holland because technically Vulture's from Tom Holland and he left that universe to come to this universe, so we can scratch Tom Holland out. I feel
yeah.
100% we can scratch him out. So we got Tobey Maguire, we got Andrew Garfield, and maybe there's going to be another Spider-Man that we don't have right now.
Be cool if we got a
It's a
Miles
lot of
Morales.
multiverse stuff.
Yes.
I wonder if the new Doctor Strange movie might touch on that and kind of, because that's going to be a crazy movie. Scarlet Witch is going to be in that one.
Oh yeah, dude.
Oh man, this is where Marvel does it right.
Yeah,
not Sony Marvel, like
No, yeah.
Disney Marvel, like the good one.
No,
Where they get stories right.
When I left the theater, I was like, this is one of those Marvel movies where you're like, I know Sony made this. You're like, this is just, nah. You guys didn't fuck up Spider-Man, but you managed to fuck up everything else, kind of.
Yeah.
Like, Venom 1 is, like, all right. Venom 2 is, like, virtually unwatchable.
Man, like, that was the fastest movie I've ever been so hyped for. Like, just, hey, here it is. Oh, that's the end. See you later.
Yeah.
What the fuck just happened?
Dude, that movie, fucking number 2 is just so cringy. Like, Woody Harrelson's character, I'm like, oh my god. He's such a good actor, and this is how you're using him?
Tasted blood like that.
Yeah, so fucking weird. But yeah, so in a nutshell, Morbius is really not good. And I wouldn't say it's the worst thing I've watched. But in terms of comic book movies, even the roughest Marvel movies are much better than this movie. Like, you know, people argue that like Thor 1 and 2 might be like the weakest of the Marvel cinematic universe. Thor 2 being like the primary suspect of like just the worst movie that they've created. And Thor 2 is like 1,000 times better than Morbius. Like, I would watch, like, if you were like gun to my head, you're like, you either got to watch fucking Thor 2 100 times or you got to watch Morbius like 10 times. I'd be like, let's go 100 times. I would rather watch Thor 2. At least Skarsgård is in it, and it fucking, you know, Chris Hemsworth is in that shit. There's shit to look at in that movie. There's not shit to look at in Morbius.
Morbius is a fucking jumbled mess of looking like they spared no expense on CGI. Everything looks awesome. Stories like, what the fuck am I watching?
Yeah,
I'm lost. I don't even know what's going on anymore.
It feels like a little kid trying to tell you a story where you're like,
yeah.
So he goes to a cave and he gets a bat and then he gets a prize for making fake blood. And then he makes a antidote for his disease. I don't know what the disease is, but he makes it and it turns him into a vampire. And then his friend also becomes a vampire. And then like he loves this girl, but his friend like also kind of loves her. And then like they have to fight in the end. Yeah. That's like, you know what I mean? That's exactly how the movie was in a nutshell, where it's just like, that's what the storytelling is. They're like, you just fucking take it. And the kids, you know what I mean? Kids got that excitement where it's like, it's keeping the story moving, but there's not really anything going on. You're like, this is a shit story. You don't know how to tell a story. You're a child.
This is like one of those movies where you could go to the bathroom in the middle of the movie and come back and feel like nothing actually happened.
Dude, you could go watch the first 10 minutes of this movie, leave for like an hour and a half, come back, watch the last 10 minutes of this movie, and you miss nothing. There is no story being told. You will know he is a cripple, and by the end, he is a vampire. That is all you need to know. That is all that movie establishes. Period. Everyone else is fucking nothing in that movie. It's crazy. Crazy how bad it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is what it is, I guess. I don't know. I got nothing really much visually pleasing. Storyline was garbage trash.
Yeah.
Yeah. Way
Yeah.
to go, Sony.
He's
Really
also
fucked up Plus and now this.
he also is like very stylish for a man who doesn't seem to care about any of that shit. He's like very well dressed for a guy who's like, I'm above it all. You're like, but are you, man?
Yeah.
Got a very nice trench coat. That's all I'm gonna say.
Very nice.
You don't look not put together. Let's put it that way. He's very well dressed, very put together for a man who's above it all. Like okay,
God.
yeah, it's a bizarre movie, dude.
Yeah, it was not. It was so hyped for what it was. It really was. Disappointed.
This is one of those things where like there's multiple vampires in Marvel, Blade being one of them. And this is our first introduction to vampires in the Marvel universe. Not Disney Marvel, but like Marvel in general. And I pray that they see what they did in this movie and they don't do that in Blade. They have like I think it, like his Marshall Ali is like signed up to play Blade. He's an incredible actor. He could play what is interesting about a vampire well, and I hope they really capture that with Blade. So when we do actually get like full on vampires in the Marvel universe, they're cool and they're not Morbius. That would be dope, dude.
It's got potential, but it needs a story to go with it because I have no connection to that fucking character at all.
No, like dude, if somebody watched it and they really fell in love with that character, you have to explain to me why. Other than it just being Jared Leto and you're like a Jared Leto fan, but like, dude, there's just nothing else that interesting about him.
No, I got no reason to care about what happens to him. I wasn't rooting for Morbius or Milo. Like it's just like I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I guess kill him. He's the worst.
Or like he's killing people. He's the bad guy. You also killed people, but you're not a bad guy. Okay.
Why are you a bad guy anyway? It seems like you lived a pretty good life. Like you're still alive. You're stupid rich. Like nobody seems to have beat you up at all. You seem fine.
Yeah, they also like
you just seem to have a daddy issue, I guess.
Milo's character, has like oddly pathetic daddy issues, but then he also has like armed goons at one point, but then he's like not a bad guy. Like he's rich. Like it kind of depicts it like maybe he's rich and he's into something shady. And you're like, okay, this kind of makes sense. Like maybe he like wants power, so he's like a crime lord or something, and you're kind of like makes all sense. But no, they're just like no. The armed guards, they just vanish. There's no more mention of them after that one scene. So you're like, why even fucking have those? Like
the fucking idea. I'm fucking confused.
Dude, I don't know.
Still trying to put the pieces together. That puzzle's stored away and gonna never see the light of day again.
Yeah, no, exactly. We
stopped giving a fuck 10 minutes into it.
Yeah, just look forward to Moon Knight is what we're fucking saying.
Yeah,
remember
sum
Moon
it all
Knight?
up. Moon Knight's killing it.
This Wednesday, another Moon Knight. Look forward to Moon Knight.
Moonfall's probably better than fucking Morbius was. I'll tell you that.
Dude, I have never seen an episode of Moonfalls, but I can almost guarantee you it'll be better than that.
Oh my god,
it's fucking wild. But yeah, man, that's kind of all the crazy shenanigans and news that we've had for this week. We appreciate you guys hanging out and listening to it. If you made it this far, leave in the comments. Milo is Lucius. Just that. And then we know you've made it this far and you're a real fucking OG.
Let's see who spells Lucius correctly.
Oh, don't Google it. Yes, I like this.
Yeah. It is. It's not spelt the way you think it is, and I'm curious. Let's see who spells it correctly.
Joke's on them. I don't even know how to spell it, and with you saying it like that, I really probably don't know how to spell it.
Because I might have looked it up and seen the way it was spelled, and what the? It is not. Nope. English is a weird language.
It's not spelled like Milo. It's not.
There might be a silent letter in there that I didn't even know was even there.
Nice. Yeah. So if you made it this far, Milo is Lucian. Write it in the comments.
Milo is Lucian.
That's how we know you're a fucking thug and you've made it this far.
Fuck yeah.
But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Kyle, tell these beautiful people what they've won by making it this far.
What you've won is mediocre content from us. I'm just joking.
Oh Jesus! I mean, it was better than Morbius.
This is way better than Morbius. And we can't thank you guys enough. You're making 2 grown man bearded child babies like just goof and gaff and just have a great time. You guys coming along and watching our stuff and following and subscribing and just everything you guys are doing for the support is thank you. So yeah, if you made it this far, you know what to do in the comment section there. And thanks you guys for watching. Thank you. That's it. That's all. Catch you guys on the next episode for sure. And I don't play with dolls, just for the record. I don't know how much you've seen, but it is what it is.
Hey man, she's gonna find her prince. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next week. Bye bye.